Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC Fight Night Columbus, and in the main event, we have a heavyweight fight between Curtis Blaydes and Chris Daukaus, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction for this heavyweight fight. This card, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it leaves a lot to be desired. It's not the greatest card. I'll be doing a breakdown and prediction for Kai Kara-France versus Askar Askarov, which is the featured fight on the card. I honestly think this is the best fight on the card. The UFC flyweights get no respect. I will be doing a prediction video for that fight. I love that fight. But outside of the main event, Curtis Blaydes, Chris Daukaus, and Kai Kara-France versus Askar Askarov, this card does not look particularly good. But if you guys enjoy prediction videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do UFC predictions every single week. Okay, now let's talk about this main event. So if you look at the tail of the tape, Curtis Blaydes is ranked number 4 in the UFC official rankings. Chris Daukaus is ranked number 8. Blaydes is 31, Daukaus is 32, Blaydes is 6'4", Daukaus is 6'3". Blaydes has an 80-inch reach, and Daukaus has a 76-inch reach. So a reach advantage for Curtis Blaydes, 4-inch reach advantage. If you look at Chris Daukaus' UFC career, and it's not a very long UFC career, he's only been in the UFC since late 2020, August of 2020. He made his UFC debut against the GOAT, Parker Porter. He was able to TKO him in the first round. He basically just clipped him up on the feet. I think he landed a knee and finished him. Went on to win against Rodrigo Nascimento via KO, Alexei Oleinik via TKO, both in the first round. The one against Alexei Oleinik, I don't know. I know Alexei Oleinik. Everyone knows his name. He's been around for a long time. He's probably like 73 years old at this point. But I don't know how great of a win that is. Alexei Oleinik has some of the worst head movement I've ever seen. And a little bit in this fight, Alexei Oleinik was able to push Daukaus up against the fence and kind of hold him there. But eventually, Daukaus just lights him up on the feet and finishes him. His most recent win was in September of last year against Shamil Abdurakhimov, which really hasn't aged too well. He's gotten finished again since then, most recently on the UFC London card. Just lit him up on the feet and was eventually able to finish him. And his most recent fight was in December of 2021 against Derek Lewis. And going into this fight, I knew, we've seen Daukaus get hit plenty of times. And when you get hit by Derek Lewis, it's just different. And Derek Lewis goes out there, does what Derek Lewis does, just kind of waits, lulls you into a sense of, where you think, everything's all right, I'm taking it slow, and then boom, just clips him, KOs him. They kind of get into a little bit of a firefight, and within 15 seconds, Daukaus is out cold. It's hard against a guy like Derek Lewis. You can have all the skills in the world against Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis will lose a fight until he's not, and then he's just able to find the KO. And that's one thing both these guys have in common. They have both been KO'd by Derek Lewis. So if you look at Curtis Blaydes, he's currently on a 1-fight win streak against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. His most recent fight was against him at UFC 266. And basically this fight was a stereotypical Curtis Blaydes fight. He was able to mix in the grappling, take him down, control him on the ground, beat him up on the ground, and win a decision. Before that, he was brutally KO'd by Derek Lewis in a fight that he was winning. I picked Curtis Blaydes to win this fight, but it's just so hard against Derek Lewis. He has nuclear bombs in both of his hands, and he has good timing, and he just finds your chin, and if he hits you just one time, most likely you are going to sleep. So he got put to sleep by him in a fight that he was jabbing Derek Lewis, kind of picking him apart. He was looking to mix in the grappling, kind of looks to initiate a clinch, gets hit with a nasty uppercut by Derek Lewis, just brutally slept out cold. Before that, he beat Alexander Volkov. Alexander Volkov is a staple in the heavyweight division. I know he just lost to Tom Aspinall via submission. But in this fight, 5-round fight, Curtis Blaydes goes in there, takes him down repeatedly, just controls him on the ground. Before that, a TKO win over Junior Dos Santos. And I know Junior Dos Santos is no longer in the UFC, but this was a solid win, and he did it with his hands. But it was really the grappling that set up this TKO. Junior Dos Santos was so worried about the grappling of Curtis Blaydes that he ended up getting lit up on the feet and eventually finished. Before that, a win over Shamil, not that all that great. Before that, a decision win over Justin Willis, who's no longer in the UFC. And then you're starting to get back into 2018, which I really find irrelevant because these fighters evolve so much. But, not a bad resume to have. He's won 5 out of his last 6, only lost to Derek Lewis in a potential, that was kind of a number one contender fight in a way. Derek Lewis went on after that fight to fight to fight Cyril Gane for the interim heavyweight title. So had Curtis Blaydes won that fight, he might have been the guy fighting Cyril Gane back in August at UFC 265 for that interim heavyweight belt. So had he just been able to beat Derek Lewis there, a lot of people, especially after seeing Cyril Gane versus Francis Ngannou in January of this year, like Curtis Blaydes' chances against Cyril Gane. So, had a couple things gone differently, we might have seen Curtis Blaydes versus Francis Ngannou 3. I don't know if anybody wants to see that. But one thing I did want to mention is throughout Curtis Blaydes' entire MMA career, he has 19 fights, and he's 15-3. He has won no contest. And in his 3 losses, he's been KO'd all 3 times. But look at who these losses are to. He got KO'd by Derek Lewis. He got KO'd by Francis Ngannou back in 2018 in Beijing, China. I remember that fight was at a weird time. And then also back in 2016, KO'd by Francis Ngannou as well. So 2 out of his 3 losses are to current heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. The other loss to Derek Lewis. And these are fights that he was having, okay success in. I don't really remember the Francis Ngannou from 2016, but he was doing okay. But when you're fighting a guy like Ngannou and Derek Lewis, the nuclear power can just, equalize everything. So when I look at this Curtis Blaydes Chris Daukaus fight, there's really one factor that I think is a massive when it comes to this heavyweight fight. And it comes in, play with a lot of heavyweight fights. And that is size. Chris Daukaus is not a big heavyweight by any means. I'm not sure what he weighed in on his last fight, but he's not a huge heavyweight. Curtis Blaydes is a massive heavyweight. He is massive. I think he cuts down to 265. The size difference for this fight is going to be ginormous. Curtis Blaydes is going to be the much bigger fighter in there, depending on how Chris Daukaus comes in. Maybe he comes in, he put on some bulk. I don't know. We'll have to see it on weigh-in day. But no matter what he's done in his training camp, I think Chris Daukaus is going to come in much smaller than Curtis Blaydes. I think Chris Daukaus is going to come in with a significant speed advantage. He has pretty fast hands for the division. He's super athletic. But I think Curtis Blaydes is much bigger. I think Curtis Blaydes has the wrestling advantage. I think Curtis Blaydes has the power advantage. And obviously, Curtis Blaydes has the size advantage. I already said that. And then you also have the fact that Curtis Blaydes has far more experience. Curtis Blaydes has been in the UFC since 2016. He's been in the UFC forever. 6 years, 6 long years in the UFC. Where Chris Daukaus has only been in the UFC for under 2 years at this point in time. So that's a crazy experience gap. And, the level of competition that Daukaus has faced has not been great competition. So I am going to go with Curtis Blaydes via 4th round TKO. I was going to go 3rd round. I'm going to go 4th round TKO Curtis Blaydes. And I just really believe that Curtis Blaydes' size and his wrestling is going to play a massive factor in this fight. We haven't seen Chris Daukaus really dominated on the ground a lot, but he hasn't fought that great a competition. He was controlled up against the fence for maybe 30 seconds or so against Alexei Oleinik, and I know that's not the end of the world. He eventually KO'd Alexei Oleinik, forcing him out of the clinch, defending the takedowns and KOing him. I don't think he's going to be able to do that to a guy like Curtis Blaydes. Alexei Oleinik's much smaller. Curtis Blaydes, super strong, huge guy. I think he's going to push Daukaus up against the fence, look for the trips, take him down, control him on the ground, beat him up on the ground. And I really don't think Daukaus is going to be able to do anything about it. Now, maybe that first round is interesting because I do think as far as striking goes, I think they're kind of even. Daukaus is a little bit sloppier on the feet, in my opinion. Curtis Blaydes, it seems like over the past few years he's been improving and getting more technical with his striking. But, unless Daukaus clips him early and just sleeps Curtis Blaydes, which is a possibility, he does have decent hand speed, like I mentioned. I don't see how Daukaus wins this fight. And when I look at a fight, I look at paths to victory. I could see Curtis Blaydes just winning by points on the feet. I could see Curtis Blaydes winning by points by taking him down, pushing him against the cage, just controlling him in the grappling aspect, and winning by decision. But I could also see him TKOing him on the ground with ground and pound. We've never seen Daukaus go 5 rounds. We've seen Curtis Blaydes go 5 rounds. He doesn't have the best cardio, but he has the cardio to go 5 rounds. We've never seen that with Daukaus. So I really think what this fight is going to consist of is Blaydes pushing Daukaus against the fence, tripping him down on the ground, controlling him on the ground. I think, Blaydes doesn't have the scariest ground and pound ever, but he has some decent ground and pound. And as the fight goes on, as Daukaus starts to get a little more tired, I think Blaydes is going to open up with that ground and pound, land more devastating elbows, and eventually TKO him. I think he also may be able to potentially get in a full mount position, just control Daukaus on the ground, finish him from full mount. I just think the size and the wrestling is going to be too much for Daukaus. And I know he's got some decent hand speed. I know he's got some decent power, but he's never fought anybody the level of Curtis Blaydes. There's too many paths to victory for Curtis Blaydes in this fight, and I just think Daukaus is going to lose. I think maybe he should have, and I know the heavyweight division isn't super deep, and you have Daukaus who's ranked number 8 and doesn't really have any quality wins, so there really was nowhere for him to go. He's got to fight some of these top guys within the heavyweight division, but I really think Curtis Blaydes is going to be too much for him. As far as how can Daukaus win outside the KO? I don't see him winning a decision. I don't see him getting a submission. I don't see Blaydes getting a submission either. Blaydes in his whole entire MMA career has never got a submission. He has 10 knockouts, 5 decisions, and 1 no contest. Obviously, that's not a win. I don't even know why I said that, but you get the point. I think Blaydes is going to wear on him, control him on the ground, and eventually find the finish with brutal ground and pound. I don't think Daukaus is going to be able to get back to his feet. We've seen in the most recent fight by Blaydes against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik is bigger than Daukaus. I think he might even have a little bit better grappling than Daukaus. That remains to be seen, but I suspect, and I just think, Jairzinho was able to find his way back to his feet like maybe once or twice, but once Blaydes gets you down there, he does not take a lot of chances. He doesn't, especially early, he doesn't risk looking for crazy wild ground and pound and then you're able to scramble back to your feet. He doesn't do that. He just controls you. He throws enough shots where the referee does not stand it up. And then, he just slowly wears on you, having that big body on you, trying to struggle to get up. Eventually, the gas tank of Chris Daukaus is going to fail him. And I think eventually Curtis Blaydes TKOs him. I'm going to say TKOs him with elbows in the 4th round. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, and thank you so much for watching.